Secure your tinfoil hats, buckle down tight, and hold on loosely as we soar over the rocky tops of the La Platas on a Rocky Mountain high, get sucked into the vortex of the Four Corners, and settle down snugly at mile marker 420 in colorful Colorado. It is Saturday, March 28th. Sunday, March 29th, for those of you across the pond and beyond. Welcome to We Are Paradox Media's Late Night in the Rockies. I'm so glad you guys are here tonight to hang out with us and discuss everything under the umbrella of the paranormal. I'm your host, TessaTNT, and I hope you guys had an awesome week and a rocking beginning to your weekend so far. Thank you so much again for joining us on one of our many outlets. You may also find us on Spreaker, Periscope under TessaTNT, where you can watch everything behind the scenes on video. We're on Twitter, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, iTunes, iHeartRadio, CastBox, Tumblr, YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Deezer, as well as Podcast Addict. So tonight I have a treat for all my guys and gals out there. Tonight we will be talking to and getting to know the cast for this month's Paranormal or Paradox Paranormal Forum. It's like a tongue twister. I still can't get that straight. So tonight we have Mr. Rick Kirkby from the UK. Rick, welcome.
Hello. Sorry, I had it muted and I couldn't find the button.
Oh, no
Good
worries.
evening.
And then we have SleepyDave Davenport from Arizona, who is our weekday host. Sleepy, welcome.
Good evening. How are you?
I'm doing quite well. Thank you for asking. And then we have Miss Mea Savage from Colorado as well as Arizona. We like to refer to her as our snowbird. Mea, welcome and thanks for being on the show tonight.
Thank you. I missed you guys.
I missed you too. And then we also have Mr. Robert White from Australia. Welcome, Robert, and thanks for being here this evening.
No worry, Yuckers.
So, we are here for the Paradox Paranormal Forum. I actually said it right this time. And we're going to be discussing everything under the umbrella of the paranormal as well as all the crazy shenanigans going on in the world today. Does anybody have a topic that they'd like to touch on first? Speak up now or forever hold your peace.
Okay.
Go for it.
Corona. We got to do it. We got to do it. So
I'm glad you said it because I wanted to.
Everyone else is going
to. You were reading my mind.
Yes.
Go for it.
I love conspiracy theories and being in my not only quarantine, but also I broke my leg, so I'm unable to really do anything other than, surf the net and other things. As an intuitive, I felt since the beginning something was like weird about this. Something was off. Like, am I wrong? Has anybody else felt that? I'm not sure if it's too. There's so many extreme conspiracy theories out there right now as to, just so many. And
yeah,
one I
everybody's
heard
like,
yesterday,
there's something else going on here besides the coronavirus.
Mm-hmm. And the big one is the 5G deal, where they have found that 5G can be very harmful. I'm not sure as to the effects if they're the same as the coronavirus, but I read yesterday someone claimed that potentially they want everyone in their homes in order to put up a bunch of 5G towers. And I thought,
Yeah, but one question though. With a lot of the population forced to work at home, they're going to have to put up that 5G anyway to support all that bandwidth. I mean, you have more people out here. Of course, it's the excuse, but it was coming beforehand. I mean, we could go back and ask, 3 years ago, Jade Helm, was this part of Jade Helm a virus or some sort? I mean, what gets me is every day I wake up and it's something new. Like today I heard you're not allowed to talk bad about the president now. I don't know if that's true or not.
I've experienced that.
Well,
even if it's
I'm just
funny,
saying,
people jump down your throat.
If you're just speaking out against the establishment now this is a massive power grab of total proportions under
martial law.
Well, under a real threat. there's some out there who think that the coronavirus is totally fake.
Oh God.
And that's scary. I wouldn't go that far to say that, but
same.
Let's just say, is it a
Would
bioweapon?
like it to be.
That would be nice.
All I know is that since right around when this all started, the panic hit, the week of Friday the 13th, it feels like I've been living a Philip K. Dick novel. I'm not kidding. The Twilight. Seriously.
It's been crazy. And a lot of people that are saying it's not real are Trumpers. And they're Trump supporters, and it's because the way he's lightly taken it, even from the get-go. And a lot of it, I blame on the Surgeon General. He's like, okay, so people coming in that are sick, we're worried about them, but they're not even looking at people that weren't sick at the time who are carriers, who they let out into the environment, and that's how it spread. It's not just spread by sick people. It doesn't even show up for a week or so.
I think it goes beyond just Trump supporters. I was saying
well,
this
as far as the
night.
whole conspiracy theory, like this is not real, Trump is saying it's because, okay, I didn't get indicted on all these charges, so now they're trying to come at me with this. Well, this is worldwide, and this has nothing to do with you, although you'd like to think so. Go ahead.
Yeah, I don't like that part of it. I mean, like I said, I don't support him. I mean, any president, he has his job, I have mine. It's way. Look at it. Yeah, I had a point. See,
I think there's just different tactics. I think that either side, regardless of your political party, both of them have their own jobs. It's just like it's a little bit to the left, it's a little bit to the right. It's about balance. And I think the tactic that the right is using is to try to not create mass hysteria in order to prevent people from doing things that are hasty or, it's maybe even for financial reasons. They don't want everybody to just freak out and pull their money out of the stock market and all that other stuff. There's different tactics on each side. And then, as an individual, you have to kind of decide which parts that you agree on. And, I think both sides are going to the extreme one way or the other. Right. And really, it doesn't matter what your political beliefs are. It's a matter of, that's their tactic. That's their media tactic to target their demographic.
Right, but
the right's like it doesn't exist, and then the left is like, it's Trump's fault. So it's hard. It's hard to decipher. So you just have to stay at home and do a pedicure or something.
I tell you a story that my daughter's mother, her sister lives in Florida, and they were talking and this was what was told to me of the mentality of the young people down in Florida, because she was one of the ones that went over down to spring break, and she's in her mid-30s. And I don't know if she went down there. I know she went people that went down there. But the young kids, and when I say that by young kids, I'm talking people in their 20s and 30s. At least this small area, I said it the other night on my program, is there's a small faction out there blaming the older generation, the boomers, Generation X, people in their 40s, 50s, 60s, and they're going out there and they don't care. She even said which wouldn't be my sister-in-law, but you could almost call her that back in those days, said my daughter's mother, we don't care. It's your guys' fault. We're down here spring break. We're doing this, that, and the other thing. We're still being promiscuous. We're coughing. We're spitting. It's your fault. Everybody's going to get it anyway, so we might as well just get it. That way we'll become immune to it and let the people die if it kills them. Let them. I mean, that's their mentality now. This is how desensitized this generation has become, and it's scary.
Well, it's very careless. And
the
then
boomer remover. I heard that term.
Yeah, and then you see the whole Corona challenge where people are licking toilets and other random things, and then they're getting sick, and they're like, oh my gosh, why am I sick? Well, you decided to lick a freaking toilet, and it may not have happened. You could have caught something else.
Are you serious?
Yeah, there was this one chick on a plane that licked one, like very seductively, and then there was this guy that went into a bathroom and licked a toilet ring, like they actually lift the toilet seat up and lick the ring around the toilet underneath. It's so gross.
Hopefully at least one of them got paid for it. I certainly hope.
Or got 1 million hits or something.
That's what I'm saying.
I think that in itself is paranormal,
That
because you have to be possessed to do that.
What were you saying, Rick?
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to
That
interrupt.
same guy I saw, I don't know if it was on YouTube or whatever it was, no, Facebook, I think. He ended up getting COVID-19, so he's very much regretting licking the toilet. There's far too many people doing things that give them powers out in the UK to arrest people and fine them and whatnot. But unfortunately, we can't blame older people, younger people. There's, I think it was yesterday, a young guy with a family, 27, no previous conditions, died just for complications of breathing and whatnot. So it can affect young, old, anybody really. It's just a bit of a lottery pick. And bringing it back to the paranormal makes me wonder, with all the thousands of people dying left, right and centre, is there going to be a major influx of paranormal activity going on over the next so many months and years due to perhaps people dying too young, feeling they've got stuff left behind to do and hanging around and all the rest of it. But it's scary times.
Very, very scary. And a lot of people don't get it. And, a lot of times I like to think my husband and I are on the same page, but he just can't stay at home. I got to go to town and check this out. I got to go to town and do this. And I'm like, we are supposed to be staying home. That way we don't pass by somebody and catch it, or, you're pumping gas and you get it, or there's so many different random ways you can get it. I believe. And I do believe it exists. And I have very close friends that are like, this is just a hoax. This isn't really happening. And this is just to incriminate President Trump. But like I said, this is worldwide. This has nothing to do with Trump or the other side. And I'm not a part of Republican or Democrat. I do my own thing over here. But there's no blame on Trump or anybody. The only thing that he did wrong is keep going to work. You're going to get sick. You're going to get over it, so on and so forth. Like that. And among
That's a good impression, by the way.
Yeah. And among other things that he's been saying, like, not cool at all. Like, people need to know and be educated. Go, Robert.
It's no big deal. Everyone go back to work. Everyone's not going to get it. And then, I think I might have it. Give me checked out. Positive? No.
If you look at it this way, though, imagine rather than, this stupid hybrid virus that was brought to us by Lord knows what, imagine if this had to do with, like UFOs or aliens or extraterrestrials here on Earth. What if there was so many that it was undeniable? What do you think, regardless of our president, what do you think our government would say? They would say, what, it doesn't exist, or they would sugarcoat it. That's something that they don't want the masses in mass hysteria. I think regardless of the president, they think they're puppets. That's what they have to do, because mass hysteria creates havoc. It creates havoc and weakness within our society. But I was wondering this, though. This is very interesting. What if certain genetics, like people, when you get your ancestry and you get your DNA and all that, what if there are some that are immune to this and some that are not?
Well, I was wondering about that too. Like, is there different genetic makeups? Because some people get it and it's just like the common cold, and other people get it and die, and they can be very young or they can be very old. It does not segregate. It does not discriminate. It does not care if you're young or old, black and white, whatever. Like, it is picking and choosing who it sees fit, basically. It's really insane.
Like, if you look at Italy, their fatality rates, I was looking at their numbers, they have, like, I don't know, like, I think I have to relook it up, but it was insane. Their fatality rates are so high. Oh, I'll look it up right now. It's there's 92,000 confirmed cases, 12,000 recovered, and 10,000 deaths. Now, do the math. That's only like a couple thousand from recovered and death. In the United States, we just have a whole bunch of missing numbers because nobody's getting tested. So we have 120,000 confirmed and 3,000 recovered because nobody really knows, do they have it or do they not? That's I guess we have, I don't know, people aren't going in. I heard from someone that he had it in Arizona and he posted on YouTube, and he said that basically the hospital and the emergency room wouldn't take him. And then they told him to call his doctor's office. His doctor's office wouldn't take him. So and he was just trying to get tested, because he was clearly sick and he couldn't find a place to go to even get tested because they didn't want him there. So how many people are there like that out there? It's like a huge number gap.
And here we have,
maybe that's,
go ahead, Sleepy.
I would say maybe that's their way of dealing with it is they take care of the ones they can, and they're turning away the ones that might have it, could have it. And either you, basically, my buddy was told, if you're not dying, then just stay home because he gets better, it gets worse, gets better, it gets worse. And he's been battling it for 3 weeks. He's sure he has the coronavirus. He's sure he has the coronavirus, but
as soon as I feel better, I feel worse. Like, I think I'm getting better, and then all of a sudden it's back again with the same original things going on. The low-grade fever.
He said he got disoriented. He couldn't think. He was confused. He couldn't. He said he couldn't even think to push the button on the remote. He said it was too hard to even think to write a sentence. He says, I had stuff to do for this HOA thing, and he's like, but it's the breathing, and he thinks he got it from the Italian club he went to for spaghetti dinner one night.
I can see it. Buttafuoco, don't you
know? My
Italian
friends are freaking out right now. I have a friend, his girlfriend is trapped in Italy because she had to go back because she's here on a visa. And he's from Italy, but he's a U.S. resident. I mean, for the most part, he's got like a 10-year visa or whatever. And he doesn't have it, but he is so incredibly freaked out because the amount of fatalities there, and his girlfriend is stuck there. She can't come back. I mean, it's horrible. You'd think that they could just give her a test and send her back, right? If it comes up negative. Well, I don't understand.
It's like Sleepy said, and just like Jason in the chat room just now said, keep in mind, Italy is only testing the most critical, and that's how it is here as well. If you're sick, call your doctor. I called the doctor for my son because he got it first, and then it was me. We basically had it at about the same time. And then my youngest daughter, then my oldest in the house, who's 16, who I'm worried most about because she has a compromised immune system. But I call the doctor, and I'm like, these are his symptoms. And just like me, he had a fever, and even though you feel his hands and his feet, it feels like they're on fire, but you check his temperature, it's only 2 degrees high. I checked my temperature, and like you were saying, Sleepy, I felt disoriented, couldn't think straight. Felt like I had the highest fever in the world, 1 degree high. It's insane, whatever this is going on. I can't say it's the coronavirus because, like you guys were saying, they only test the most critical, and that's people with diabetes or pre-existing conditions or compromised immune systems.
Well,
not only that, they won't accept you in the hospital at all. Like
they don't want you to go.
Even your doctor's office.
Yeah, the problem with that is, and I can only speak from the perspective of being in the UK, is what they say: if you get symptoms, self-isolate. Although we're meant to be all stopping in now, but originally self-isolate. But obviously, if you're in a house with other people, you isolate yourself in a room for 7 days. If things get worse and you can't breathe and this, that, and the other, then obviously call an ambulance and go to hospital. They don't want people turning up at the ER, as you guys call it, and we call it A&E, accident and emergency. And thus, if you've got it, spreading it around, like they say, the majority of people will probably get it mild. So if you're at home and you're isolated in a room by yourself, having your meals taken to the door, and then the people leave and you get your meal and use alcohol gel and all the rest of it and try and keep yourself isolated, and you get it mildly, you've possibly saved not passing it on to 20, 30, 40, 50 extra people at the hospital and whatnot. And as long as you get it mildly, because a lot of people seem to get it quite bad for 2 or 3 days and then they start picking up and feeling better, as long as you don't start having breathing difficulties and everything, so then you have to call an ambulance and get rushed into the hospital to get sorted out. It's all done to A, stop transmission, hospitals and doctors' surgeries, and the majority, big reason, apart from passing it on, which is the worst one, B, is you're not taking up a hospital bed. If they admitted everybody who had symptoms and tested everybody, then the hospitals would soon be so full they wouldn't have any
like
room
Italy.
they were serious. Yeah, people who were really serious. So Italy's now on lockdown, and hopefully the curve will start going the other way. As people stop in, the weeks and the months go on. I mean, we've been told to stop in for at least 3 months. If that goes further, who knows? But hopefully, with people not passing it on to anybody else, it'll eventually
I think it's
go.
the right
Hopefully
approach.
we'll get that vaccine sorted out, but it could be, 18 months, 12, 18 months or more. But the thing with that is the pharmaceutical companies really need not to be greedy and put profit before our lives. We need to all muck in, all mass produce it, because obviously one company can't mass produce it for the world, so we've got to there's probably going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or more vaccines that need to be approved, not just one, because there's no one pharmaceutical company will be able to mass produce it. They're going to have to patent it, but open it up under license to other pharmaceutical companies. We've got to get on top of it and get it out there and speed it up. But unless they do that, then it's going to take forever to get one. So I'm hoping that they'll put lies before greed. But you know what they're like. But hopefully, like you say, it's worldwide. So we've now got to come together and do that.
Yeah, it's very
I
scary.
do like that it's unifying people, though. It is unifying people. Like, it is kind of, there's been so much political BS and all this trivial stuff that has been going on for the past few months or past year. I don't watch the news. I can't stand it. But it's great to have people actually unifying together. I've been on Facebook like a hell of a lot more than I ever have been. And you kind of just realize, like, why, don't take things for granted. Don't take your friendships for granted, even if they're not in your face, even if you're not, even my family, I've been in contact with them much more. So in a way, for the positive part of it, it is kind of unifying us as humans around the world,
Well, and like Jason in the chat room is saying, the saddest part of this may be that people are dying completely alone. Once you get to a point, you're very sick and you will be completely isolated in a hospital bed, which is true. And I have actually been watching the news. I actually use that because I have tinnitus. I have ever since early October due to a very mild ear infection, and it could have been due to flying and having that. But I have to have sound in order to sleep. So I'll do paranormal shows, but that keeps me awake because I got to watch it. So I'll turn on the news or something around 4 a.m. and listen to that, and that generally puts me to sleep. But, I mean, it's everywhere, and there's so many things that people are trying. The school systems are shut down everywhere. Everything is shut down except for carry out and delivery, and people are dying alone, and that's the saddest part of this. You can't even be with your family. Or even talk on the phone. There was one individual trying to talk on the phone with his family, but he couldn't because if he takes off his ventilator, he can't breathe and he's dying faster. So it's very difficult for people in the world today, and it's so sad. And my prayers and my love and light go out to everyone out there dealing with this. It's very, very sad.
Yes, all light workers together. It's very strange how, I feel like there's a lot of like light workers, mediums, and just the things that they're doing, and we're kind of all mirroring each other in some of the things that we're doing and unifying. And it's beautiful. It's tragic that it has to be like this, but there's a lot of people spreading a lot of positivity throughout this, working behind the scenes and doing, their stuff, and hopefully it works. I just hope, we're protected. I'm not saying like witchcraft or anything, but even them, go for it. If that's your thing, as long as you
whatever
have
works
good
for you.
intention. Exactly. Work together.
This is what we need, Mea. Like I say, people coming together, albeit at 2 meters distance. This is a family member in your household. But all joking aside, Yeah, we need the positivity in the world and coming together, and I think it has uniformed us all. We're all in the same boat. But, like you say, on social media, there seems to be a lot of political point scoring. I mean, our Prime Minister, he's actually got C19. The Health Secretary's got it. The Chief Scientific Advisor's got it. I mean, it can strike down anybody. So it's just a little bit of a lottery. It's not time for political point scoring. You should have done this sooner. Why didn't you do this? Why you've got to get through it? And all that stuff can come later if it needs to be done. But it's got to be so hard for the people who are in charge. I mean, Trump, he does massive faux pas anyway, and so I guess Boris Johnson has in the past. But now's not the time to discuss that. We need to get the ventilators being built by whoever needs to be building them, and we just need to be caring for the really, really sick people, and hopefully, like we say, the majority of people hopefully get it mildly, build up some sort of immunity to it, and we ride it out and hopefully get that vaccine sorted out, because who knows, it could be a yearly thing, like flu. They're always tinkering and messing about with a vaccine because it mutates and changes and whatnot. I mean, this could be an annual thing, and we'll just have to put our trust in the medical scientists. And now's not the time to be fighting and blaming this person and that person. I mean, I've seen a lot of people blaming, it's the China virus. Yeah, okay.
And people are discriminating against Chinese people due to this. I'm like, dude.
I mean, say it checked out DNA and it come from bats and snakes.
And even Corona.
So they eat that. But I mean, that's like saying if like BSE that come from cattle and stuff. Is that to say, oh well,
I do disagree.
The Chinese
do disagree.
And it come out of Wuhan in Hubei province, but they didn't know. Well, they knew in December, but the communist country, they try and contain it, but they should have shut down the air travel a lot sooner. But not time to start blaming and the silliness, spitting and shouting at Chinese people in the street. They've got nothing to do with it. They seriously wouldn't have eaten the bat or had the snake or done anything with it if they knew that was happening. So it's like the BSE problem.
I do disagree with some of their food choices, but that has nothing to do with the people themselves.
Yeah, it was funny. I was watching a live broadcast on Facebook, and they were actually going through the Wuhan market, and they're showing like how crowded it is, as well as how many people are there again, and how many different selections of food they have.
I saw that with the dogs.
And the bats. You got the bats on one stick and the bat wings on the other stick. Yeah. And you can pick your live dogs with the dead dogs draped over the live dogs. And oh my gosh.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different way of life over there, but it's a different way of life.
But we eat animals over here, and we've eaten animals from the time we're omnivores. We have the specific teeth to chew through meat. And as much as I tried to be a vegetarian when I was growing up, it hurt my body. It was not good for my body. And as much as I would like to not eat animals, a big juicy steak is sometimes what you need. Like, depending on your body, some people can live without it. But especially if you're young, or if you have a young girl specifically, and she does not eat meat for the first, especially like during puberty age, she'll become anemic like me. And it sucks because it got so bad I would just like almost pass out because of the amount of just, I don't know, it's an iron deficiency. So I would almost pass out from exhaustion. I was tired all the time. I bruise extremely easily. Now I'm healthier, but we've always eaten meat as a species, and I 100% support vegans as well. But I think everyone's body is different, and
and being vegan. You said you had done that, and you were eating ramen noodles, but there's beans and different things that you can eat that do give you that protein. I don't know whose background noise that is, but it's kind of distracting.
Oh, that's me.
But yeah, like there's different things you can do to not get iron deficient. But even being a meat eater, like before, after being pregnant, I was iron deficient. But yeah, I mean, we eat different things, and who are we to judge what they eat? Like they've been around a lot longer than we have been over here in the U.S. But to me, it's just insane. I'm like, wow, you put that in your mouth? That's awesome and crazy at the same time.
Yeah.
But it is scary, and we don't know where exactly it comes from. A lot of people say it's from the Wuhan lab, and it's kind of like the Montauk lab over here. We had the Lyme disease and other things going on there, and all of a sudden it's released here. You know, if you mess with things, you're going to get hurt. Just like if you play with fire, you're going to get burnt. So it could be man-made. It could be something totally out of the wind or out of a certain animal. Who knows?
Yeah, they looked into the possibility of that, but they poo-pooed the idea. As I looked at the RNA sequencing and said it was a coronavirus jump, which means a virus that jumps from an animal to human, and it said it's jumped from bats and snakes. So, and they eat bats and snakes, and they've either come into contact with the bodily fluids or eaten it, and it's come on. So they ruled out the bioweapon idea a long time back, because obviously in Wuhan there's a virology center where they test and mess about with different things, as there is all over the world, and it just happened to be, that's XYZ amount of miles away from this market, and this, that and the other, and this, that and the other. They're not even sure if that market is the ground zero market. It could have been one of other possible markets in and around the same province. But the biomedical scientists have looked into that, because obviously they'd be the first to flag it, especially America and our country and the Russians and that. The Chinese have done this, and they've tried to, they'd be the first ones to say. And I'm sure Trump would jump on the bandwagon, as would every country. But apparently they've looked at the RNA, the ribonucleic acid sequencing, and apparently it's jumped from bat to snake to human, or bat and snake to human. So they've ruled out the bioweapon side of it. But
yeah, I'd even heard
I don't think I can eat a reptile.
I heard at one point it was like an aardvark or an anteater or something. Now it's a bat and a snake. But what better place to release it than at a market if you were doing warfare? But if this was the Wuhan virus thing, why would they release it on their own people? Besides to test it, but still, I don't think it's that. I just think everybody's having a hard time trying to wrap their minds around what's going on right now, because in our lifetimes, we've never had to deal with anything like this.
In any generation, more or less, because
since
everyone
the Spanish
that's alive,
influenza.
They had SARS, and this is, I believe, can't remember.
It was less publicized, though.
Yeah, SARS,
as far as.
But that was contained in Asia. They managed to contain it within Asia, and it didn't spread out around the world.
And the H1N1, but nobody heard about that one. They did, but
we had a vaccine for it, didn't we? We got a vaccine.
Yeah,
I remember when the swine flu came out.
I think it'll work out.
And it was actually just up the road from us at a camp where all kinds of kids were. And I'm like, oh, great. And I had to drive by there every day to go from Bayfield to Vallecito to bartend. And I remember driving by there and I'd hold my breath. Like, that's really going to help. Luckily, I didn't pass out behind the wheel.
Like we all do now in the grocery store.
Oh, yeah. I almost passed out a couple days ago from that. What were you saying, Rick?
I tried doing some ITC sessions back when the swine flu was on, but all I got was crackling.
Cracklins.
Sorry, that was trying to keep everybody's spirit up.
Did you get some spicy ones too?
Crackling, yeah.
Well, Robert, you were saying something about the water ports there in Venice, the Venice canals. Robert, can you fill us in on your little thought there?
Yeah, I've just been reading in the last week or so that they've been the cleanest that they've been, because there's no traffic on the water to stir up the silt and the debris on the bottom, that they can see the bottom now through it, and they haven't been able to do that for about 50 years. So that's one positive. And then I've also heard that because there's pollution being pumped out into the atmosphere, because all the corporations and all the companies and industries have all ground to a halt, that there's a hell of a lot less pollution in the air now too. And not confirming it or not, because I don't know if it's true or not, but I read that the ozone layer is closing up again because of it as well.
Yeah, have you seen how much pollution has gone down around the world?
No, but I know it's a fair bit.
Yeah, it's amazing. I've seen maps, and it's been every couple of weeks apart. Hey, look at how the pollution's gone down over here. Hey, look at how the pollution's gone down over here. Looking at world maps, where you generally see a big red cloud and other little red dots, because it's gone down so much.
Maybe the world should have a shutdown for every 2 weeks each year. It might improve the atmosphere.
I believe in 2011 they did a map scan of the ozone layer above the North Pole and whatnot, and they said it'd be 50 or 55 years for it to fully get sorted out. But like Robert says, yeah, due to not everybody going out in cars and big industry virtually grinding to a halt around the world, it's apparently now sped it up a little bit better. So hopefully we've shaved a good number of years off that, and there you go. We've got two flips of the coin. Some people believe in climate change, some people don't. But it's definitely interesting.
It definitely has, like you said, been helping with the pollution. I almost said population going down, which is happening too, but the pollution going down.
Horrible.
Yeah, I'm not saying it's good that the population's going down, but the pollution, because we have been needing that, and there was no signs of stoppage in any near future picture that we could put in any direction, and now we're forced to. Which I think we should make this like an annual thing, whether we're sick or not. Maybe we should shut stuff down for a couple weeks to a month and have just a month or a couple week vacation.
I agree.
Around the world.
They do
Could
in
you
Italy.
imagine?
They do in Italy. They have a whole month off in Italy, it's like their 4th of July, their Independence Day, and they shut everything down for an entire month. Given they have lots of tourists there during that time, I believe it's like August or September. And they shut it down. Everything's shut down. I mean, small businesses are open, so you can still get food from small businesses that want to make money. But for the most part, everything's shut down and everyone's on vacation. It's cool.
Yeah, it's a good idea, but I suppose massive government subsidies and things, people chase the almighty dollar, as you say in America, and they're not going to want to lose that money. I mean, they're probably already crying over it now, but we're all in the same boat. And
well, I'm hoping this little pause too gives people pause to stop and look around and actually see their lives as it is and see what's really important, which is time with your family and not working for the man and trying to bring that check in. There's more important things than money. You can't take that with you when you go, and a lot of people don't realize it until they're about to go, that their family was actually the most important thing, and money got in the way. But that's the way our governments are. They keep us working 2 to 3 jobs just to keep things going. But now we're able to stop and spend time with our families, which brings me to another point. If they don't figure this out soon, there's going to be a parent out there somewhere figure out how to cure the coronavirus because they want their kids to go back to school. It's not summertime yet. People aren't ready for their kids to be home.
DIY.
They're losing their ever-loving minds. Yeah. And that brings me to another point. This mold thing, this mold treatment for ponds and such. This is what people are ingesting to kill this freaking thing. And people are dying, people that aren't sick. Hey, let's take this so we can cut it off at the head, cut off the snake of the head of the snake. Let's take this stuff that you put in your pools or your ponds that's supposed to kill this virus. Even Trump is talking about it. Not a good idea unless your doctor prescribes it at a certain amount. Even then, I don't know if I want to put that in my body.
How about
been talking about
Clorox wipes?
Take for anti-malaria, chloroquine tablets. That's an antiviral malarial drug. So it's quite good. Whether or not you put it in a pool or not, I wouldn't have thought so. But chlorine you put in a pool, but chloroquine.
It's an anti-mold thing.
Quite a bit different. Anti-mold, I don't know. I know about the chloroquine tablets, which is an antiviral for malaria, which you can buy quite cheaply. and apparently that's alters the cell membrane apparently to stop the virus actually entering and reproducing within the body. So hopefully, if that works, that'd be good because it's a rather cheap
We
drug.
just had 2 deaths
That's the
here
pharmacy
in Arizona for people taking that.
Yeah.
Taking
I
that.
think that was the husband
Two
and wife,
deaths
right?
here.
I think that was the
It's
husband
gotta
and
be
wife that's been on
like-
the news. They're like, hey, we're not sick.
Yeah,
Let's take
cause
this. And
side effects, but
yeah.
you put side effects against if it's going to work very well. But obviously, like you said, the doctor's going to have to say you can have 25 milligrams, 50 milligrams, whatever milligrams they decide, not just, oh, let's buy some and 25 milligrams is good, but perhaps 50 is better and let's have to take twice as much. And with issues, it's very much got to be prescribed by those in the know. I wouldn't just run out and you're supposed to take 25 milligram every day, let's take 3 instead. That's just silly. That's just bonkers.
Yeah, when my husband gets sick with a cold or flu or whatnot, he'll totally overdose on vitamin C. And he thinks that's going to fix it. And I'm like, you doing that is actually worse for you than if you just took the regular amount every day. But he thinks if he overdoes it with the vitamin C, it's just going to burn it out. And that's not the case.
No, oil of oregano. The oil of oregano is the best.
A lot of people overdo vitamins, and a lot of it just gets processed by the liver and comes out. So, there is a lot of people say that a certain level of vitamin C is better than a lower level, but again, unless you've got blood work done to see how much you're actually absorbing, because everybody's different. I might take 1,000 milligrams, and out of that, I get maybe 35% absorption. You might get 55% absorption. So you've got to know what's going on with blood work.
Robert, you were saying something about Brisbane. In Brisbane, you said they've worked out that a combination of an old HIV drug and a different drug that's out there already is a possible cure. Are you there, Robert?
I'm here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Tell us about Brisbane.
It came over the news about a week ago that these scientists down there, they have been trying to get a cure for it, and they discovered that the combination of these 2 already out there drugs, like they don't need to go about researching them and putting trials out, or they do need trials on people, but they discovered that this combination will either slow down or completely stop the coronavirus. But they were then, in the same breath, asking for $750,000 for medical research to work out if it would. But if they know that it will, then they should not need $750,000 to work out if it will work. But yeah, that's just them.
Man, Brisbane, I swear.
Beep, 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 beep. Just in.
Beep, beep, beep. This just in. Robert says Brisbane has lost its ever-loving mind. No, it's cool that everybody's... Yeah, it's cool that everybody's trying these different things, though, because that's what it takes to get past, certain diseases. Like, how did we come up with antibiotics? Just trying different things. Something eventually is going to work, and whoever comes up with it first, it's kind of like if you smelt it, you dealt it, sort of thing. A lot of people are going to think, oh, well, since you came up with the cure, you must have started it. But I don't really completely agree with that. Maybe it's the luck of the draw. Who knows? But I'm hoping we find something to happen soon. But in the meantime, everybody just stay home. And they're saying 1 person per family go to town. And, oh, man, my husband raises his hand for that every time. He cannot sit still. He's got to go to town. And I'm like, we're supposed to be staying home. No, you don't have to go look. You're putting us in jeopardy. But, yeah, I don't know. It's pretty frustrating when you feel like you're alone on a certain front and nobody's on the same page with you and you're just trying to protect your family. It's just like, stay home. We got what we need here. We can go in later or whatnot. And it's just scary. Like I said, touching a cart or touching a door or a gas pump or even walking by somebody who might be breathing out at the time or coughing or sneezing. Or maybe you touch something that somebody else touched. I still have yet to get my mask. I saw that Sister Sandra had actually created some, not for legitimate use, but kind of for fashion. But it was pretty interesting to see her make those.
Yeah, yesterday I did go out to the shops, and I saw the workers at Woolworths here in Rockhampton actually spraying one of the sanitizing bottles over the trolleys, the shopping carts, and wiping them down before people would actually use them, even though they already have the ones where people can, the wipe things that you take out of the dispenser and wipe them over yourself. So now they're taking it to the next level. So people are being extra covered, apparently.
Yeah, it's funny, even before this came out, there was a little post that had this hillbilly chick with her hands down her pants right by a cart. And I sent that to my husband because he'll just grab a cart and go willy-nilly and not even worry about it. And even before this came out, I would grab a cart, grab the wipes, wipe down the cart on all edges because the kids climb on it, on the end, on the sides, so on and so forth. And nasty people are touching this. And even if they're not nasty, they got nasty things on their hands. And, man, just use those wipes, use your hand sanitizer, so on and so forth. I mean, it's just crazy. Like, what do you do to actually protect yourself? And, nobody's really got it down. We're all just putting things out there that could work, hopefully. But man, it is a scary time in our lives, for sure.
Yeah, I was just reading about the chloroquine phosphate. It's in higher amounts probably than you take orally from the doctor, I believe. It says it's used to clean out fish tanks and whatnot, but didn't see anything about swimming pools. But they're going about hydroxychloroquine as well, which I believe is a anti-inflammatory type drug used for arthritis and things like that. But yeah, again, all these things are like Rob said, they're already out there, but they just got to either get the nod from whoever to license it, or just say you can use it off license for things that I just think they're trying to throw everything at it. And we need more studies. We need people to take it under medical supervision and see if, like apparently in China, they gave them chloroquine and had good results with it. But like you say, everybody's different. And one person taking 50 milligrams might work really well. It might be toxic to other people, so they have to take less, so it makes it longer. But I wouldn't just be taking things that I bought from a pet shop to clean out the fish tank. You need to do these things under medical supervision, and there's a lot of things flying around the internet, so it's best to speak to those in the know. It's just one day, hopefully they'll get the vaccine and it'll be one size fits all. But at the minute, we don't seem to have any drugs that just work miraculously for everybody, even if they work for a few.
Yeah, like you said, it's not pools, it's ponds, unless you have a pool that's just sitting there. I've seen pools with so much mold buildup, but ponds like koi ponds, that's what it's basically used for, is like koi ponds and fish tanks. But yeah, it's crazy to think of that as something to put in your body. And it's funny too, my kids got sick earlier this winter with a viral infection, and it was a cold sort of thing like this. And, they get the creepy cough and such, and they're saying it's not bacterial. That's why there's not really fever. It's viral. But this is viral as well. It's a virus, but you get a temperature. Mm-hmm. And like I was saying with my kids and myself, when I got it and my son got it, we didn't get tested for it. I did call in. They said unless he starts, okay, so this is how they said to test it. Give him Tylenol. Don't use ibuprofen or Advil. Put him in the bathroom with a shower going so he gets the humidity, or use a humidifier. And if he starts wheezing, then call us back. Unless he starts wheezing, they don't want to hear anything from you because they're so busy with everybody else. You get the wheezing going on, call back, and then they might bring you in for testing or whatever they may need to do. There is no cure. Even if you get it, there is no cure. And we do need these ventilators, and Trump was trying to use the whole thing. And this is one of the things that irritated me. This New York governor did not give him the respect that he felt he should be getting. And so he's like, well, I don't even think this guy needs this many ventilators. It doesn't matter what you think. You weren't elected to think. You need to do what's right for your country and give him as many ventilators as he needs. He's been going slowly but surely, giving him hundreds by a couple thousand of ventilators week by week or so on and so forth. It needs to move faster. And so we have Tesla and different companies working on ventilators. Hopefully they can get them out there to people as quickly as possible. And they're even talking about using ventilators for not one person, but two at a time, which they've never done in the past. But I could see this working. Hopefully.
Yeah, something needs
I'll
doing.
just be glad when the apocalyptic dreams stop. Oh my gosh. It's like I'm tuning into just like the consciousness of the collective. And I'm having these like, and I'm not afraid in the dreams because I know it's not my own subconscious. It's like these weird, I'm tuning into like the outer exterior consciousness, if that makes sense. And it's crazy, like tornadoes, and then I'm just dead animals and all these crazy things. And I know that my fear doesn't run that deep. So I know that I'm picking up on other people's fears. So I will just be happy when people get enough of a glimpse of hope and we start seeing some improvement, which we will. And the positive thing is, you look at China, you look at, Japan and their numbers and how much they've decreased, in such a short amount of time. I mean, within a month, they've we'll say 2 months. Within 2 months, they've decreased. There was a huge spike, an astronomical spike, like doubling it every day almost type of spike. And then it's calmed down. And I think hopefully and possibly we may even get an immunity without a vaccine for this. We don't know, or awesome. Even like I'm hoping so, because that is possible. I know that is possible for some things. So, snake venom, for instance.
Well, they're saying if you get a 60% population that catch it, and thus then become immune after it, as long as it doesn't mutate, then we'll get a herd protection. So, because the majority of people are got antibodies against it, then that'll help protect the people who haven't had it and got the antibodies against it. So you get the herd protection there. But that's a 60% coverage of people. But the gamble is, if 60% of the population gets it and 55% of those die, that wouldn't be very good. I mean, the UK government today said we're hoping that no more than 20,000, that's 20,000 people die. If it's no more than that, we'll have said that we've done a pretty good job of it. And I just thought, 20,000, that's 20,000 people. That's 20,000 too many. We've already got over 1,000. They've got 5,000 dead in Spain and probably even more in Italy, and you guys, it's creeping up and up and up.
Over 10,000 people in Italy.
Yeah, so double what they've got in Spain. But
Italy is the size of Arizona.
Mm-hmm.
Just to give an example, and I didn't know this until I talked to my Italian friend. That's a lot of people.
It goes the other way. Now everybody's shut away. Hopefully, people
over the hill. We'll be over the hill soon.
But the majority of people are stopping in. Like now they are in the UK, although there wasn't the other weekend. It just makes your blood boil. But now we're getting the message, stop in. It's not for you thinking you're invincible, because 27-year-olds had died with no pre-existing condition. And even if you do get it mildly, you might pass it on to him. He might die. He might pass it on to his wife, his grandma, whoever. It's not to be selfish, but very much there is a spike in that collective energy around the world of fear, like you'll be tapping into that there, and it's very much four horsemen of the apocalypse sort of vibe going on. But let's hope we can overcome that with positivity and put them vibes back out into the world and keep laughing, keep smiling, and see the light at the end of the tunnel, and just trust those who are working hard to keep us safe. And like we said before, Tessa, yeah, unless you can't breathe and you're really struggling, the best thing to do is isolate yourself at home and hope that within 2 or 3 days of the 7-day period, you're over it and you don't need to go on that ventilator, and keep the hospitals and the ventilators there for the real serious cases. But we need to stay positive. We need to come together, I think, all over the world, get something done, put people before profit, and that's the way to go.
We're not numbers, we're people. Well, on that note, you guys, we do have to go to our first musical break, and I know Robert's been looking forward to this whole evening because he just loves reggae. I'm being sarcastic. But on this musical break, we have Nonya Toria from Ghana, South Africa, and she's going to be singing Kaki, Yubani, and Monyaye. And then we also have King Cinnamon with Rosie. And Nonye is from Ghana, South Africa, and King Cinnamon is actually from Biafra, Nigeria. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this musical break.
Promises I know, but I Make have me, just get ready. Now waiting, I sabi, I did tell you all my how life is. Now so show love with your heart and show love with your soul. So show love with your heart and show love with your soul.
Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men, they wear out. All my guys, they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Mukomukeji, go bere muketa. Oya mukomukeji, oya bere muketa. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni gbo mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ẹjọ. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ. Daddy kosi kosi, omo ni ẹjọ. Daddy turn him pussy, omo ni ẹjọ. Daddy and his baby, them dey for corner. Daddy begin the touch and the girl dey holla. Now daddy begin the open the shirt collar. Now something come out, daddy begin the suck am. Daddy mu ekon, omo ni gbo mukeji. Daddy bere muketa, omo ni fún mi lẹ́yìn. Daddy fisi fisi, omo ni ẹjọ. Daddy saucy saucy, omo ni ẹjọ ẹjọ. All my men they wear out. All my guys they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. All my men they wear out. All my guys they wear out. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Imarama, Imarama, Rosie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Cinnamon, cinnamon, do it softly. I said you wine your body, eat the sweetie, sweetie. Make it rock my body, I am feeling horny. Make it touch my body, I am feeling sweetie. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Suck my boobs, you got my body loose. Anytime you touch me, you got me confused. Kissy, kissy, amani, ejo, daddy saucy, saucy, amani, ejo, daddy kosi, kosi, amani, ejo, daddy kahe kosi, amani, ejo, daddy contact, amani, ejo, daddy comfort, daddy consist, amani, ejo, daddy can eat, daddy 120, amani, ejo, Ejo, daddy 1-8. Daddy 2-4. How many? Ejo, daddy 3-6. Daddy and the baby, them day for corner. Okay, begin the touch and the girl the holler. Okay, daddy begin the open the shell. I come to come, daddy begin the sucker. Daddy move, echo, I'm on the mukage. Daddy bere muketa, I'm on the fumile. Daddy fisi, I'm on the ejo. Daddy saucy, I'm on the ejo. All my men they play roll. All my guys they play roll. Imarama.
Oh yeah, it's Funky on the beat.
Good evening, and thank you so much for coming and hanging out with us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Paradox Paranormal Forum. This evening we have Mr. Rick Kirkby from the UK. We have Mea Savage from Colorado, as well as Arizona. We have SleepyDave Davenport, our weekday host from Arizona, and Robert White from Australia. Welcome back, guys. It's so great to have you on tonight.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No worries.
So, yes, we got into the whole coronavirus, which I'm glad you brought it up, Mea, because I thought I was just going to be repetitive talking about it, but I can't help it. It's like in the forefront of my mind, and it is a very serious topic and a very serious thing we're going through, and we are number one in the world now for coronavirus here in the United States, and I'm like, well, does the United States always have to be number one? Come on, like, let's not do this, but a lot of people are in denial and not believing it's happening. A lot of people are realizing it and not getting the support they need. It's a very scary time in our life. But we are here to talk about things under the paranormal umbrella. So I'm thinking, and a lot of other people are thinking, is there something else going on right now besides the coronavirus? And they're even saying, stay inside, don't even go in your yard. Well, I'm going to go out in my yard because I got to plant some blackberry bushes and some other things out there. I got my little buddies growing.
You's a rebel.
I'm a rebel. You ain't keeping me out of my yard, ye youngins.
Without a cause.
You know, it makes me think that now would be a good time to take the night vision camera and go to the cemetery across the street and see what I can see. Maybe take Mel over there later on tonight. Because you can see the sky really good.
Hey, I was thinking too, so you got the old school one, right? Old school night vision?
Yes.
If you want to do that, and then I can give you the address and stuff to our YouTube page, and then you can use your cell phone propped up or whatever to record from your video, unless you have a boot to do the whole internet thing. But I've been thinking the same thing. I want to call the city, see if I can go down to the cemetery. Nobody else should be there. If so, I could stay far away from them. But now's a good time to do videos with the paranormal. I know this year on Halloween, the paranormal for me was so immense. It was like the most spirits I've seen in one place in my whole entire life this year on Halloween. Recently,
as far as I know,
been really quiet. But I'd like to see what's going on. As far as you know, what?
As far as I know, they keep it open 24 hours a day in case people want to go in there. I mean, if it's closed, I'll be surprised, put it that way. I mean, you can go anytime, day or night. There's always at least one gate open.
The dead never
people to go in. Yeah, right. And sometimes the living, insomniacs. So where do they go? Midnight graveyard haunts.
We never tend to get much activity in the UK. I mean, a lot of people don't die at cemetery, so a lot more energy hangers around in and around hospitals and people's homes and things like that. And I mean, if you come back as a spirit, would you want to hang around the graveyard when nobody's there? And also, going back to what's going on in the world, if your family can come and give you some energy or give you some sort of love, some sort of warmth, some sort of protection, if it's at all possible, then I guess they'll be in and around us. So I'm very much going to concentrate on that and do some ITC work around that and see what answers I'll see what see what comes through, because I believe if they can be, then that's where they'll be, in and around the family people, and especially those people who are self-isolating and very much by themselves. I wonder if there's going to be a lot more paranormal things going on, things moving around in people's houses and whatnot. And obviously, a lot of people don't report it, but it'd be interesting to see out in the chat rooms if anybody's experienced more things like Mea's getting negative thoughts coming in, some sort of like the world consciousness and whatnot.
Dreams, apocalyptic dreams, they have to stop. Like, I had one that was terrifying. It was just like the last thing I remember before I woke up, I was in this house running. The whole dream was running from tornadoes. We'll put it that way. And everywhere I was, the tornado would hit. I was in a car, but it didn't get off the ground, but it hit. And then I went somewhere else and it hit. And then I went somewhere else. And I'm kind of in this little like valley in between some mountains. And there's like this old man in a rocking chair, kind of like an old style Southern homes or Midwestern, I'm not sure, very creepy like. And I was trying to close the door for some reason to get the tornado away. And all I remember is him saying he was the devil. And I'm like, oh my gosh, people, you know,
yeah, hell no,
the devil. I was in somebody else's mind space, or a collective mind space, because I didn't feel fear. I was just like, come on. Like, can I like unhook cut the cords, like bring me back to the better, you know, astral dreams and such.
I very much believe, as we can't be together physically, if there is some way past family members, friends and whatnot in the spirit dimension, whatever you want to call it, can be in and close to us. I'm sure that's what they'll be doing right now, and it'll be very interesting to see what if anybody's experienced anything. You know, they felt like there's been hugged or a tap on the shoulder or something moved. And, you know, I'm very much hopefully going to get some messages back from some ITC later on over the next so many months. But, yeah, I very much believe like Tessa said, you can't go and visit your grandma, you can't go and see your mum and dad and whatnot. And people like myself, high-risk group, can't leave the house, or other family members leave the house in case they bring it back. And
I just got a weird message.
Spirit's immune. Cool.
I just got a weird message, and when I get messages, I just have to like save them. And it said, "Look up, like look into the sky." So I'm not sure who that's for, but I mean, obviously I can't because I am on a walker and I'm scared to go out there in the dark. But so it wasn't for me. So just somebody look to the sky, or maybe everyone.
Yeah, it's probably my parents, because I haven't been doing that for a while. I've been kind of staying in because, like I said, this winter has been insane. Generally, every year I might get sick once a year, and it's really bad, but it's just one time. But this year it's been one illness after another, or it's one illness that's recycling. And this last one, every time I think it's gone away, it'll come back with a vengeance, and I get the whole burning eyes and nasal passages and stuff going on again, and low-grade fever, and I'm just like, what the hell is happening? Leave me alone. But what you were saying, Rick, about the cemeteries, and I feel the same. Like, the only time I ever really went to cemeteries was to visit my parents. But I've been watching Franco TV, and this guy has basically grown up in cemeteries around mausoleums and stuff, and so I've been watching his channel, and he actually has caught quite a few things in the cemetery, and I generally leave the cemetery to rest, and, you know, that's a place of peace and rest, so on and so forth. But I think things do hang out there, and it could get pretty lonely because, like you said, who wants to hang out there? Perhaps a person that used to go there while they were living to visit somebody that was, you know, passed before them or whatnot. Or perhaps they feel like they have no place to go. But it's very interesting. But it would be interesting to see what kind of activity is going on right now, especially UFO. Everybody's staying inside, doing Netflix reruns, or like totally getting into Netflix and watching it for hours upon hours. Pornhub is free, everyone. If you need to get your anxieties and frustrations out, you can actually watch several episodes.
You can't. We have a no-touch policy. So
no-touch policy.
Do what you gotta do.
Right? You have to make your own sunshine. I mean, orgasms. But yes. Hulu, like so many different things going
Everyone's
on
got
right
to
now.
be good at something.
Right? What
And
is
there's
the one?
thinking that was ectoplasm you had on your hands the other day, Tessa.
What?
And it was me thinking that was ectoplasm you had in your hands the other day.
Yes, that's what it was. What is Sling. Sling TV. You know the slangers who are usually on TV, like, you want to slang?
Slang.
Sling TV, Hulu, Netflix. We got so many things going on. As long as the internet stays up and running, I think we'll all be okay. But if the internet goes out, oh my God, my kids are going to lose their minds, and then in turn I'm going to lose my mind, and it's not going to be a good turn of events.
Time to buy a garden swing.
Yes. Hammocks. Something.
I think it's a good time also to practice things that you love to do, you know, really get back into tune with yourself and your own natural rhythm. Like, as a human, you know, we all have our own gifts and talents and things that kind of feed our souls. And it's such, if you look at it as such an opportunity to get back to the things that make you feel alive, that you typically don't take time for yourself. I know it can be difficult with kids, but as well as the kids need to do the same, you know, like it's nice for them to be out of school and distractions and, you know, gossip depending on their ages and stuff. I want to get back to my music. This is like, it's like the universe is kind of forcing me in that direction. I've been very depressed and uninspired until today. And I just recently, you know, was just listen to some music. I've been very into the music. They like, listen to some song that you haven't heard in like forever. Look it up on YouTube, you know. It's like really cool, like to if that's your thing, or, you know, whatever your thing is, it's kind of nice to get back to your roots as a human, you know, enjoy it, embrace it, and don't worry so much about the future and the outcome, because it's not going to be, I don't think it's going to be one extreme or the other. I don't think it's going to be like the end all be all of humanity apocalyptic. And I don't think it's going to be good, because it already has clearly, you know, things are not good. But I think, you know, just even, let's say we do die, this is dark optimism, do it while you're doing something you love, at least within a few days of you dying. Do what you love.
Mooney said that Pornhub has been broken. It's been malfunctioning. No.
Not surprising.
But I agree with you. It's funny. Back in I want to say 1999, but it was actually 2000. I had this box set, Leonard Skinner box set, and I left from Mancos, Colorado to Durango to go clean for this cleaning company. And one of the places I used to clean was a building in the cemetery, Greenmont Cemetery in Durango. Freaked me out because I'd see things going past the window and I'd look and nothing was there, and I'd keep cleaning, but I'd still go. But my brother's son, actually, I had the CD on the stove for some reason. Maybe Nova or Kinsey put it up there, but he started a fire. When I got home that morning, my Leonard Skinner CDs were melted. Well, I found it again at a pawn shop, $15 for a 3 CD set. And so I actually did what you said, Mia. I put these CDs in there, which is old school for us. Generally, we go on iHeartRadio or wherever we listen to our music, but listen to some Leonard Skinner. My son was singing to it, even though he hadn't heard a lot of the songs. But music is the universal language, and it's one of the best medicines in the world.
Yes. I'll argue that and say that it's the best. I mean, other than love, I guess love and music are the best medicine.
So Mark on Periscope is asking, has any one of us used a spirit box? And we'll start with Mr. Rick Kirkby.
Sorry. Just lose it. Yeah, very much so. That's what I use for my ITC, although I like to build my own equipment. I do have the SDC stuff. But I've built different devices based on Steve Huff's portal and whatnot. And I like to record my own audio, so then people can't come back and say, well, it's the app, it could do this, it could do that, the other. I'll say, no, it's me saying different things and then putting it in reverse or doing A, B, C, D or Mary the Little Lamb and various different things like that. So if I get things back from that, then it's very much quite possibly a paranormal phenomenon. I mean, I've been getting whole sentences out of backwards speech, which is not just the case of auditory pareidolia, where I believe it might be saying one word or a word and a half, or a couple of, like maybe 2 words, which should be, but I get whole sentences sometimes, which is quite interesting, and in interactive bits where you'll say something and you get the answer. I sometimes will say, what am I doing now? And I'm waving my hands around, and I'll get a whisper, you're waving your hands. And, I always try and mitigate different things, even though when I used to use the apps, it was a bank of MP3s, so I'd turn the internet off because it wasn't needed. I used to put tape over the cameras and various things like that. Make sure I use certain words. Didn't always use names and things like that in case it was like an algorithm that picked up on something and reproduced it. And a lot of different things like that. Listened for 2 hours and noted down, can't remember if it was about 7 or 8 things that might have sounded like a hi or a hello or the odd thing like that. But when you get full words and sentences at times, it's very much an interesting thing. But I've used ghost boxes, spirit boxes, whatever you want to call it, and built a variety of different things based on Steve Huff's Portal and other people's designs. But it's very, very much an experimentation I've been looking into for the last sort of 3 years. Having researched and investigated paranormal for sort of over 20 years, it was something that I very much thought was perhaps could be BS, could be auditory pareidolia, but looking more into it, it's opened my eyes, and it's very much a fascinating subject, and one that I'm enjoying experimenting with. So that's my answer.
Mea, what about you?
Well, typically I try the organic way. I'm afraid if I use too many external devices, that I will kind of lose touch with, what I've learned in my process of just communicating with spirits directly. But something that and of course we've used them in our paranormal group, so I can say yes. But something that I did years ago, which is really fascinating, is back when tape recorders, before phones recorded your voice, I do remember, as a musician, me and my girlfriend, we would play music together. We played for years. And there were times where we always recorded ourselves, because especially when you're kind of like channeling in a song and you don't have lyrics for it yet, but you're channeling an emotion or a feeling or a thought form, you sometimes will come up with lyrics that are really good unintentionally, rather than just writing the song. And that's how both of us typically write. Rather than writing the song, we let the lyrics kind of come to us with the melody. So we write the melody and then the lyrics come. And we used to record ourselves on these tape recorders. And there were multiple times, and one time really specifically in particular, that we would play our own recording back. And the both of us would hear other voices in the song, whether it was background vocals or actual lyrics. We would hear female. It's like almost like we were calling upon the dead singers of the world, which is why I still think that some people can channel other musicians when they're doing this. And so it was very interesting, because we would hear the exact same thing. It wasn't like I was crazy and I just thought I heard something. We would hear actual voices or actual we would try to make out and replay what the spirits basically were saying, or the lyrics. So a lot of the lyrics that I've come up with, not a lot, but some of them, well, a lot of them were channeling external, but you can actually hear it with a tape recorder. So I think that, maybe we should bring those back.
Yeah, I've used dictaphones, still do. I use many recording devices, and it's interesting that you say that. I've like we just capture what we call the EVP, just asking out like paranormal investigators do, And then upon playing your digital recorders or your tape recorders in the past, you get the replies of voices and whatnot. I use various different recording instruments when I do the ITC sessions, and I have on occasion had a recording, which I believe is an EVP from the room, just on one recorder. Although there's like 2 or 3, 4 together, only one recorder will have that, and you'll analyse and you think, that's at 3 minutes and 55 seconds, but you can't hear it on that recorder, or that recorder. It's almost as if spirit has concentrated or whispered or spoken to that particular recording device.
Or sang.
Interesting. Yeah.
Very cool. I know that I haven't heard that since I started, since the smartphones were able to record. I was like, this is amazing, and we don't have to use a tape recorder anymore, or what any other external devices. We can actually just do it on our phones, any place, anytime. It's portable. But I haven't had the same result, which is fascinating to note. I do a lot of like sample recording and, song ideas and stuff, and I don't really hear it on an iPhone. So that's peculiar. It could just be a specific frequency or a specific,
there is certain hertz recorded between certain hertz. It's 4:40 a.m. here. I just can't quite remember off the top of my head what it is, but between a certain hertz frequency is one of the best ranges, although it can be recorded over quite a broad spectrum. And I'm sure that you would do this if you was going to do a session as I do. I try and get in tune first. I used to sit in circle, as we call it here, perhaps you call it there in America as well, with a group of people, and became sort of psychically in tune with this sort of things when I was younger. So I always try and do this before a session and try and get in tune myself before starting any ITC sessions, and try and make that connection first. But yes,
I know it's in the 3 or 400s. It's like 396 hertz or 400, and I'm not sure but like there's one that's really good. I think it's like, I don't know, like 369 or 426 hertz. Between that amount is supposedly like a meditational vibration, something like that. I'm horrible with this.
So, Robert, what about you? Have you used any ghost boxes to communicate with the dead, or do you rely solely on your gifts?
Well, I usually just go in with either the digital recorder and a camera and myself. I don't use any of those other things because, one, this is Australia and we can hardly get those things anyway, so I don't even bother looking. And two, they cost way too much over here because of the price difference in the monies. Like Australia dollar compared to the US dollar, it's for some things.
I'll send you one.
Well, if you want
crazy shipping, Mea.
Yeah.
My husband was looking for this kit to fix his mother's bass, and he found one in Australia for an amazing price. But he said it was like $200-something for shipping.
Are you kidding me? Was that like 4-day shipping? That's not like snail mail.
I don't know. He said that's what it was for
shipping. I do it snail mail. Yeah, probably.
That's what I do, and it shows up the same time as if you paid for it.
Yep, that's what I try and do too.
Wow.
Yeah, if you want to send one over, I'll give it a go. But yeah.
Facebook me. Tell me what you want and Facebook me, and I'll see what I can find. I'm a really good deal finder, and I have nothing but time right now. So
you could very much build. You could very much build something cheap for parts from Amazon.
Yeah.
If you look up Mini Portal, Steve Huff Mini Portal, which is basically a sound deadening pedal for a guitar and a reverb pedal to guitar. You don't even have to download his stuff. I've used other ones which I have not tweaked it with the software, and a mini speaker, and either create your own audio to run through it, or pick an app that you trust. And like I said, if it's a bank of MP3s, you can turn the internet off. You can cover up the, like people say, oh well, maybe they could see you through the camera. Well, it's a bit hard because the Wi-Fi wasn't on, but also I've covered it with some black electrician's tape. But there's various different things. That's what I like to do my own audio. But you could very much do that. I would say. I'll try to think. I don't know what the exchange rate is, but let's say it's half of what the English pounds are. I believe the mini one cost me probably, I'd say, about £60-70. So if whatever that would be in dollars, but it was very much that's how I got kicked off before I built more expensive stuff. But seems to a lot of the things you can get in the SCD sweeping radios and things. I mean, they can be fairly cheap on eBay, but you don't even need them. Like I say, if you've got a microphone as you have, because you're on here, you could simply record A, B, C, D, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, all the way through to Z, Z, or whatever you want to call it. Do that in reverse. Do Mary's a Little Lamb or any nursery rhyme. Use that. Whisper it. Do it left, right, and centre. Or do it backwards audio, whatever. Use your own audio. And like I say, then in your mind that hello Rob or hello Robert or whatever you might get through, you've never said, you've never recorded that on your audio. There's no algorithm perhaps in the background there trying to fool people or whatever, because it's your own stuff. And yeah, so I mean, by all means, if Mea can perhaps send you something, but I would think it's probably going to be fairly cheap to build a few little things for yourself. But anyway, that's my 2 penneth worth there. I'll mute.
And I'm the deal hunter, so just let me know.
Right?
And then,
me too. I'll go everywhere and exhaust myself.
Robert, how much have you ever sent something just like snail mail, like regular mail, to the United States, like a package or anything?
Yeah, I recently sent a packet of a lot of the jewelry that I made over to New York State, and that cost, I think it was $25.25 because it was insured. But otherwise, It would have been about $20 to send it over.
Okay. So yeah, as soon as I can walk or drive, basically, I can do this. But I can shop in the meantime. If you give me a list of some cool devices, I would definitely invest in more of those devices. I've been in such an interesting journey, like just trying to figure out who and how and when and how each communicate. Like I did my first kind of like Sylvia Brown moment or Long Island Medium moment like a few weeks ago, or I guess it was like 2 months ago. And I had never done this before because I was communicating with this girl's grandfather, and she asked me how he died, right? Just to see if I knew, right? And I had never done this before because no one's ever asked me that because I don't typically do that, right? And I just I saw him like holding over his like right side, his right abdomen. And I told her that. And since I'm terrible at anatomy, she's like, yes, it was his liver. And I'm like, oh, that's where the liver is. But
my liver.
It was. So I'm really still learning some of these different things. So I always am afraid that I'm going to kind of corrupt and spoil myself with, other forms of communication. But I don't think that's possible because they use all types of communication, So I'm starting to believe that may actually be a good thing to get more. I like my app. I like my app, Tess.
Yeah, and I found a cool app too, which is the Ghost Radar Legacy. It not only picks up the energies around you.
Thanks, Robert.
But it picks up the words. But somebody was actually asking in Periscope, what do you guys think about these EVP apps and such? I know you love the paranormal radio thing that you use. What is it called again?
It's called Ghost Radio, and I have an iPhone, so I'm not sure if it's available for Android or not. I've heard multiple things, so I don't know.
I tried to find it on my iPhone. I can't find it. So I thought it just didn't
Ghost
exist
Radio.
anymore. Okay, I'll try again.
It might not. I haven't used it in probably about almost a year or so. No, I think I used it over the summer, so I I think I did. I think I deleted it on accident because I deleted a bunch of my apps. Just one day, obviously, I was like, whoa, where did all these come from? What is that? I had a voice changer app so I could prank call people and leave voicemails. And
I could totally see you doing that.
Yes. It was really fun. I won't get into that. It's probably...
I know. I can just hear it in my head.
But
we'll talk about it later.
1 or 2 nights of fun. Yes, we will. 1 or 2 nights of fun with that. So I might have deleted it, but I think it might be still around.
I remember the first time we ever met, you used it, and you were picking up the same things my thing was picking up, and we were picking up on the same things as well with our abilities, and it was just awesome. But yeah, I try to find your app that you use because I'm like, okay, I like this one, but I want to try hers, and I could not find it anywhere. I'm going to try again. Maybe I was using the wrong name, but I'm pretty sure I wrote it down, and that's what I looked up, but holy shnikes. So, okay, as far as asking you about what you think about paranormal EVP apps and such,
it's still there. It's still there, so I just looked.
Maybe it's just my phone. It's one of those cheapy iPhones, like the S5, I think, or something like that.
Ghost radio. I don't know. I'm not sure.
What about you? Okay. Rick, do you use any sort of app on your phone for EVPs or any sort of communication? And what are your thoughts on it? Mr. Kirkby?
Hello, sorry. I was pressing. It wasn't responding.
No worries.
Like I said, I started off using various apps. Let me just have a look on my phone. I used to use Solomon, Matrix, Spirit Box, Radio Hack, Steve Huff's one. I can't remember what that's called. I think it's called The Portal, actually. I believe it's just called The Portal. I can't see it. Maybe I've got... The Portal. That was the free one. And then Portal Plus, which is the one which uses sweeping internet radio. But and the SCD units, but I very much... because I get getting people saying, how do you know if they've done this with the app or they've done that with the app and all the rest of it? So I decided to record my own audio, which is very easy to do if you've got a PC and whatnot, and reverse it and slow it down and do your own little bits and bobs. And I mean, even if you don't have any editing software where you can insert this and that and a backwards bit for so many minutes and a forwards bit and or all backwards or whatever, you could always re-record that again. There's ways and means around it. And then when you use that, and then someone can't come and say, oh, what happens if this, that and the other? You say, well, no, it's my audio. I wouldn't fool myself by inserting a little bit where I say, oh, hello, and whisper this, that and the other. What would be the point? Working against myself. So I very much like to use my own audio. But yeah, I've used plenty of different apps in the past, and as long as the people who've made them, because a lot of them are free, Banshee and whatnot, as long as they've not meddled with anything. I mean, I did have a friend of mine who's in software development and whatnot look at a few different things, and he couldn't see anything, dodgy code or anything that would like say, oh, when you say hello or this trigger word, it starts this off or anything like that. But to be 100% sure, if you recite children's nursery rhymes and play it in reverse and you get something forward, a sentence and whatnot, and like I said, I believe it was the Portal, the initial free one, without the internet scanning radio. I listened to that for around 2 hours with a notepad and noted down yo, hi, and little sort of one words, even if it just slightly sounded like it could be a word, to sort of try and rule out auditory pareidolia. But when you get things like you're waving your hands and things like that to answers to what am I doing, and you're waving both arms and hands in the air, then I very much think, well, something's manipulated the sound there, as we believe spirit can do. But by all means use apps if you want to try and sort of silence the naysayers use your own audio and don't pay out for apps or use the free apps because you don't need to. So that's my take on it.
They're so interesting, and I just like to use different equipment and different apps and such and see how it does work, and I have had success with actual online things, and people always ask, like, how does that work? I don't know, but it does. It has. We actually gained a story from a spirit we were investigating through the Ghost Radar Legacy, and she basically said her name, Kate Johnson, Walter Intention Death, Sharp Tool. Her fiancé was stabbed to death, and she felt responsible, so she killed herself, and in turn was stuck in purgatory on this train car. But it's pretty interesting how they do work, but a lot of other times, all you get is mumbo-jumbo, and nothing really makes sense, and it's kind of like trying to solve a puzzle, but it is interesting to use. Sleepy Dave, have you ever used one of these apps, or cell phone EVP app? Ghost Radar or whatnot?
I think he said he had to bob out. I think he's gone off the call for a moment there.
Okay, well, we'll pass it on to Robert.
No, I haven't. I think the most I've used has been an app, one of those ones that supposedly tracks where the ghosts are in an environment, but that's the only thing I've ever used, and that didn't work all that well. So no, I tend not to use the apps that come in because you can never really trust if they're going to work properly or not, especially if they're designed for the US market and they're down here.
Yeah, it's weird how that works. Some things cohesively work, some things don't.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you what I do find interesting, that no matter what language you use, you'll get a reply in that language. I used to be so in French and living and working and visiting China over the years and then emigrating there for a little while. I'm very, very rusty now, but I repeated some sentences in Mandarin, and I had a reply in Mandarin to which I sent to a Chinese friend of mine and said, "Can you hear anything there?" Didn't say what I thought I could hear or anything like that, as I never influence anybody or put a subtitle underneath anything, and they always very much record it as is, unless someone just says edit that bit out and send it. I'll very much send like, this is the whole thing, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever. Say keep it short, but sometimes you run on. Totally unedited. So if I go, oh damn, I haven't put that recorder or whatever, it's all recorded. Nobody's going to say, oh, you did this, you did that. I like to have it absolutely raw. And they got an email back saying, oh yeah, I can hear someone whispering saying, ghosts, yes, true. Was basically the translation. And I said, oh, thank you. That's very much what I thought I could hear as well. So it seems to be if you speak French or you speak Mandarin, Chinese, or Cantonese or whatever, the spirit will reply in that voice. And as you've had a guest on before, and it was part of the first paranormal forum, Paradox Paranormal Forum, Jeffrey Silman, agrees with me that when you transition over, language becomes universal, and perhaps they're speaking in their own language, English, and it gets somehow translated, or you have the ability to tap into that world consciousness and just be able to speak any language. But it's very, very interesting. Someone, even if they're in America or wherever, they can speak Spanish, get a reply in Spanish, speak English, get a reply in English. So very, very
I had a
interesting.
dog
I
come
thought
through
I'd
one
that.
time.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I've had barks. I've had barks and different noises. I remember when we filmed Out of the Ghost Hunter, we had musical instruments on the EVP recorders, well, just dictation recorders that we'd put in locked off rooms in other parts of the theatre. And it was only upon reviewing hours and hours of audio that we could hear sound like a violin and things like that, and was like, that's strange. And then obviously when we spoke to the guy who we arranged it through, he asked us where we placed it. Everything. He said, "Oh, that was the rehearsal rooms." It was like, "Whoa, okay, cool." We didn't know that at the time, but just thought it was near the dressing rooms and whatnot. But rehearsing rooms, and we got they had sort of notes from a violin. There was definitely nobody in the group had a violin with them, and so interesting, very interesting. The whole EVP, ITC things. I'm hoping to going back to building your own stuff. It's quite easy to do a video loop. So I'm looking into setting up video looping and try and get visual ITC stuff going as well. But as my household is not very much into paranormal things and very much scared of things, although they've had things which they've come to me and said, "Is this good? Is that bad? I've seen this, I've seen that." They don't like it to be discussed, but it's finding time to set such things up, because it's like I'm just going to commandeer the TV for this, But we've got various TVs in the house. But I'd try and, as you're starting out, you've got to be in the right frame of mind. I know Rob and Mea and perhaps other listeners out there are very much grounded and got the psychology part of it all mapped out in the head, and they've got their own protection ritual, as a lot of us sort of psychic people do. I like to call myself an electronic psychic at the moment. So they're using electronic devices, but we've very much got our own psychological ways of getting into the right frame of mind and protection rituals and whatnot. And I'd very much say when you start out with this, try and do it as cheaply as possible. You can spend hundreds of dollars or pounds, which I have done. Tried to do it in bits and bobs, a little bit here, a little bit there. But sometimes found some of the cheapest stuff. If you've got a connection, some of the cheapest stuff you can get some good results with. But I'd very much say it's not for anybody. Don't just think, that sounds interesting, let's start doing it. I mean, I do 99.9% of my stuff in the kitchen or the back room. And it always used to be a big no-no growing up. No, I never do an EVP at home, never do this and other, because, spirit might do this, or it could be evil spirit, it could be whatever, or they could be having a laugh and they could say something that frightens you. After all these years, I've got it down. I get any mumbo-jumbo, just cut it off and leave it at that. But I'd very much say, unless you're really experienced and your psychology down, and here's what I'm going to kill you, and I'm looking at, I'm going to do this in the night or whatever. You hear things like that, because sometimes you might get things like that come through. If that's going to frighten you, and I very much wouldn't just go into it willy-nilly. But if you're an investigator, and
usually it's not a demon. Usually it's an angry spirit.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we've got spirits can scratch you and harm you too, trying to get your attention and stuff. Like, just because it scratched you doesn't mean it's a demon.
If you're not prepared for that, that's going to mess you up. Your own psychological. I mean, how many times have people been on an investigation? Someone drops a book or something, there's a bang or something happens that's totally natural, but because you're in that sort of situation, the psychology of it all is running for, whoa, people are frightened, and it just, unless you've got that down, I wouldn't put tampering with anything.
The telly.
The telly.
Well, yeah,
the shows on the telly.
Try to rationalize it or debunk it or whatnot. It's not automatically something paranormal, like you're saying. But on that note, you guys, we do have to go to our second musical break, and we have Nonya Toria from Ghana, South Africa, as well as King Cinnamon from Biafra, Nigeria, and we also have Prime Example, which is Quest's group that he sings with, and Quest is our musical person. He gives us all of our music from all of our free-range musicians, is what I'm calling them this evening. But Prime Example is from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. You guys don't go anywhere. We'll be right back right after this musical break.
Free-range musician.
Yeah. Friday. The way you're shaking your waist, don't stop till you dance all day. With a groove, the Niger way. If you like to Atlanta, and take it back. Niger music is alive, we got the hottest music out there. You know, start from today, we'll be hitting it from Monday to Sunday. Everybody get ready, it's time for us to get steady. Everywhere we go, Niger music now number one. Slim or fat, hey, now you're palaver. I beg, throw away your face. Like they let people come, throw away your face. It don't really matter cause we're all in the race. That's all we gonna be till we all meet the Niger.
She know me treat her better than her man, but she a worry about the millions, the millions, the millions. You love me for true, but certain things in life I say I want to do. Hey, so you say me need to understand that you are made for a money man. But if you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. I say I love him, but I love you more. He took me shopping sprees and bought me finer, but I crown it more. You're the one that gave me proper loving. He might have all the money, everything to satisfy me vanity, but in my heart I knew you were the only one that I would be loving from now till the end of time.
Don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
Girl, I know you want stability, but that no mean say you fi sell your soul for vanity, no. Bright lights, fast cars at the city, and the fast lane make you lose your sanity. But me can't believe you sell yourself so short. Forget the money you will make, man, break your parts. But your life make your choice, because me now make you break my heart, no. If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
If you can't love me now, don't love me later. When my later is much greater, it only proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater, cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah.
I wanted to learn the hard way, so I'm taking you to lover school. You want money just for party, girl. You take me for fool.
Every piece of my heart I gave away, I gave it away to you. Why
proves that you love the paper, my paper.
Boy, me gon' love you now, me gon' love you later. When your later is much greater. Cause me a one-man trafficator, yeah. Now, trafficator.
We swap on the beat.
She like my water bam bam. King Cinnamon. Oh shit, baddest. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Gucci brother, baby, gather something. Come on closer, baby, gather 19. I know you better, but I am the king. Your backside bigger than Bombay. Baby girl, bronco-tum. I like the way you wind your bronco-tum. Baby girl, bronco-tum. I like the way you wind your bronco-tum. Jamaica, Ghana, shout out to the ladies in Asia, Nigeria, South Africa. Say me love you. Please me, baby. Yeah. Turn up from you. Take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's go, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Give me love. Me want you, me love you. Give me love. Oh, give me love. Hey, please me, baby. Oh. Yeah, turn up from you. Yeah, take your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Shake your bam bam anywhere you day. Play your bam bam, it is a Friday. Come on, let's ball, it is a holiday. Anything you want, baby, I will pay. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. Fantastic. Baby girl, you romantic. King Cinnamon. You know what I'm saying?
We spot on the mix. Lift it all.
Just got home, showered.
call. Step, 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 baby, follow my lead. You and me showing off for the club to see. No time to get rest, we doing our thing. Cha-cha, then we dip, top it off with a spin. Glide across the floor, let's do it again. By the way, little mama, can we be friends? I can't let this night just end. I really wanna know if I can see you again. Give me your number, we'll get back on the scene. We can hit another club if that's your thing. We'll be partners in crime, you and me, as we ripping up floors like two dancing machines.
Good evening, and thank you so much for joining us tonight on We Are Paradox Media's Paradox Paranormal Forum. And tonight we are joined by Rick Kirkby, Mea Savage, SleepyDave Davenport, and Robert White. You guys, welcome back, and thanks so much for hanging out with me tonight and talking about these random subjects.
Thanks for having us, Tess.
Thank you.
Yeah, I love to be had.
Yes, don't we all? But it's so great to have you back, Rick. I know you've been going through a lot of health issues and stuff, so it's so good to hear your voice and be able to hang out with you again. I know it's really early over there, so thanks so much for coming on tonight.
Yeah, not a problem. Like I say, I probably missed the last 3 or more. But the last time was due to technical issues, but I was up and ready and raring to go. But I will try and take part more often if that's what you would like.
Yes, I would love it. Nikki was asking in the chat room about things recently. Have any of you... Here, let me... Okay, it keeps going past it. Come on, computer. Good Lord. Up or down? There we go. Are any of you cyclically seeing or receiving spirit messages about anything that is coming either for your country, your state, the earth, or in space? And we'll go backwards this time and start with Mr. Robert White. Have you received any messages or dreams?
The only thing I've had recently for the upcoming couple of months is for a person that's been asking if his estranged wife will return to him, and I said, yeah, that she came back about June, May or June, in the middle of either May or June. So that's about the only thing I've had. Haven't had anything for space, haven't had anything for the earth. Country's gone to hell anyway, so can't really see much past that. But yeah, that's about it for what I've had so far.
Mea, what about you?
Well, considering my condition, I haven't really been tuning in lately because I just have not had the energy physically to be in that space. But I've gotten a few messages for private people or just individuals, as Robert said. And I will have to agree with him about the May-June thing, because for some reason, right as he was talking, I saw the date, June 13th, which is really weird. It just like, it said June 13th. Like, I don't know what that means, but right as he was talking, I agree with the May-June deal. I've heard that just kind of floating around, getting signs and all that stuff, but no details on a mass scale as of yet, but I feel like they're coming. That's what they've been telling me too. I haven't been ready, and I feel like I will start getting some better, tuning into some better vibrations, and hopefully figure that out.
Robert? We already asked you, right? Okay, so let's go to Sleepy Dave. Are you back? Are you back in the house? No? How about you, Rick? Have you had any dreams, visions, anything pertaining to your country, yourself, the world around you?
Not any dreams that I can remember, but I have very much, over the last so many weeks and months, as you know, been a little bit up and down with my health condition. I very much asked Spirit to take a step back, and I've not been doing any ITC or anything like that, or concentrating on getting my strength back up and whatnot, as I like to feel more on an even keel, as it were, before doing anything like that. So I very much think they've taken heed of it and stepped back. So not received anything, but hopefully I will be doing some ITC in the next so many weeks and months ahead. But what I will say is people lie in the physical, so people, spirit can lie as well. So if anyone else does ITC, EVPs or anything, gets anything negative through there, always take things with a pinch of salt. People like to play pranks, people like to be nasty for the sake of it. So, very much take it with a pinch of salt, as I always do. And that would be my advice of that. But I haven't had anything as yet, but hopefully as I invite them back in and do some more sessions, I'll perhaps share that at a later date. But at the minute, I've asked them to step back, and they're respecting that at the moment. So nothing as of yet.
Yeah, I haven't really been experiencing anything huge. It's been just like everyday life dreams, which is kind of weird for me. Usually my dreams are really intricate and in-depth, but it's been like everyday life for me in my dreams recently. But nothing of future events or cataclysms or the end of the world or anything like that. So that's good. I used to have those dreams when I was pregnant with my first daughter, so that was about 20 years ago. Right before I had her, I used to have some catastrophic dreams. But then I'd wake up and I was sitting in front of a large screen TV with the news on, so that made a lot of sense. But nothing recently, just really in-depth dreams. But I think there's a lot of people out there right now that are having very in-depth dreams and dreams that are deeper than they usually are, because we're all working from home now, or unemployed or laid off due to this coronavirus. And so we're getting more sleep and getting more in-depth and more detail, and things can portray themselves as certain things like tornadoes, hurricanes, different things like this, because our world is kind of just out of our control right now. And so that's when you generally have dreams like that. But I'm not discounting anybody's visions, and if you guys have any, definitely let us know. I'd like to hear about them. I'm wondering, for my question about UFO activity, has anybody noticed if it's picked up or declined or is about the same? I've seen some videos where they're really coming out, being that the airplanes aren't moving as much, and the skies are a lot darker now without all that aircraft up there. Let's see, Robert, have you noticed if any UFO activity has increased or decreased in your neck of the woods?
Not really. I have been going out and looking up in the skies at night, and when it isn't overcast, there's very little activity up there at all. Like planes aren't even going across. Like you said, most have been grounded. But the occasional one will go by, and I'll see that they got both lights flashing, the right colours, and but no for any alien activity.
I was going to ask Mea, but I know she's going to say she's been laid up for a while. I'm not sure how long, and I don't know if anything's happened before then. But have you noticed or heard anything from anyone about any increased or a decrease in UFO sightings?
It's been pretty overcast here, but I think so many people are distracted right now. But it's good to spread the word to everyone, because it'd be nice to know, like a week from now, if people are listening and telling their friends, or just putting that out there, to see if that's possible. It's been very overcast here as well. So yeah, weird for Arizona, but it's kind of rainy on and off.
Yeah. What about you, Rick, over there in the UK? Have you guys had an upgrade in sightings or downgrade? What's going on?
I haven't seen anything pop up. Like most places now, it's been C19, C19 all over the place. But I very much remember at the beginning, somewhere near the beginning portion of the conversation, I don't know if it was on air or while we was discussing things while the music was playing, I believe Mea said, look to the sky. I didn't know if she meant at that precise moment or just in general. Like you say, we're distracted by things, and maybe we should all start looking up a bit more over the next coming weeks and days, and who knows, perhaps we'll see more aerial phenomenon. Yeah, I remember saying that, and I can't remember if it was on air or not, but very much we'll try and do that when I'm out and about in the garden. No, I've not seen anything crop up on the radar or been discussed on the forums and whatnot out of the ordinary. But everyone's distracted at the moment. But we'll very much look at things as we always do.
Yeah, I've seen a couple videos where, there's red orbs and they line up into a triangle and such, but here it's been very quiet, not only for UFO and alien encounters, but also paranormal, which kind of scares me. You're waiting for the shoe to drop. What's going on? Why is it so quiet? When it was so active around Halloween, it was the most spirits I had seen in such a long time, and all of a sudden it's kind of like nothing. So I'm not sure what's going on.
But could that be going back to what I was saying earlier on, if you want to be in and around the family member to help them, or just be in and around there with your spirit energy, and that's why it's retracted? We're all around the family members, the family and friends, investigators aren't going out because we're self-isolating, we're trying to keep in. So, perhaps that'll account for it, because I very much know if I could, when I'm passed over, be with a friend or a family member during a difficult time, that's where I'd be. I wouldn't be speaking to anybody trying to capture my voice, perhaps, or wherever if at all possible. Perhaps that could account for it. So, interesting theory.
Well, I'm going to open up the floor to you guys. Is there a topic that any of you would like to discuss at this point? Anything under the umbrella of the paranormal, the COVID virus, anything?
Well, with what they've been saying about when the COVID virus ends, that the world will be totally changed. How? Because if we're doing the social distancing now, it won't be that much of a change to keep doing that. And I've been doing that for the last few years. Like I keep the distance from people anyway.
Me too.
Like, it's not like don't want to catch anything from anyone.
Same. The extroverts are freaking out over this, right? They're so bored. And the introverts are like, it's just another Tuesday,
Exactly.
Yeah, things very much have to change. Like you say, Rob, we've been doing normal, and normal's caused this, but perhaps, it's hard, isn't it? I believe China's said, don't eat this, don't eat that. Dog, cat, bat, snake. On a temporary basis. I mean, if they kept that up completely, perhaps that'd be a good thing. But if it's a temporary basis, then we'll have to rely on vaccines and whatnot. And if it mutates, then we'll just have to hope that the biomedical scientists are going to keep up with it. But yeah, like I say, if we carry on as normal, things have happened as we've been doing the normal, so things have to change. But I mean, it's hard to say to a poor family who sells bats and snakes or traps them and sells them on that, right, that's dried up now, you're going to have to try and do this, that and the other. It's some of these people probably, live from one day to the next, and if they cut off that stream of money. So it's, asking an entire nation of people to try and change the habits. It might happen, but I very much doubt it. But definitely normal's caused the problem, so we're going to have to change somehow.
Well, we've all had to change our habits, so I don't see what the big deal is. Don't put that in your mouth.
Silent clean. You eat.
Could you imagine
No toilet seats.
The UK or France or whatever dictating to America, saying, right, BSE, that you can't have any beef. I mean, it caused a big problem before, but there's still major big cattle farms. And, if they said, right, you can't have it anymore, all the farmers who did cattle would be out of business. And it'd be a nightmare as it was. But
then who will guard Buckingham Palace? They're all beef eaters, aren't they?
I heard Prince Charles got it.
London, the beef eaters, Tower of London. But yeah, Prince Charles has got it. But Tower of London beef eaters and the guards and the bearskin hats and the Buckingham Palace. But she's gone to Scotland, so I believe. But I don't know. It's like Noel's caused it, so things have got to change somehow. Or we've yet again got to hope science catches up and protects us. But normal got us into this mess, so. Some things need to change. What it will do or not, we don't know. But like I say, it's very much hard to try and dictate to another country that's been doing it for God knows how long, and people's livelihoods being at stake. To just expect them to change overnight. It's a slow process, but normal got us into this mess, so we do have to change some things. And if anything, hopefully it has brought the world together, although at a 2 meter distance for now. And hopefully we'll respect each other more and live life more and that, and hopefully good things will come out of it. And hopefully pharmaceutical people, like I say, companies and that will put lives before profit, and we'll all come together for the greater good to make the ventilators and whatnot. And, hopefully more good will come of it than bad in the long run.
Be very nice. Well, so far we've seen a lot of positive changes, and we have lost a lot of people. I don't know. I can see a big change. We already got several big
Spread
ones
love.
going on. I think people are going to have difficulties.
Spread love and light.
That's right. And when it comes time to go back to work, I know Trump wants everybody to be better by Easter. But once we do try to go back to work, I could see everybody not wanting to, or people not wanting to send their kids back to school. Like, I've been dealing with that for a while with the whole way the school system is and bullying and such. Like, I don't know. I think a lot of things in our life are going to change. But right now I think we're just focused on the present and getting through these times and spending as much quality time with our families as we can and trying not to focus on the craziness around us.
Mm-hmm. This
Agreed.
is
Do what you
to
love.
find tiny silver linings in everyday things. Appreciate things that not just pass by and every day. Look out the window. Appreciate what flowers are coming out. Appreciate the things that you can now sit and take stock of. And like you say,
appreciate being able to walk on your legs if you have them.
Yeah, I mean, how many more times has people now called friends on the actual phone or video messaged the mum and dad or a friend or whatever, that normally you'd be too busy, you might do it once a month or once every 6 months, or I'm really sorry email, I've not been in touch for XYZ, all this. You've got to look for the little silver linings in everyday things now. We've all got time on our hands to take stock of it, and we just got to take those little positive things each day and look towards the light at the end of the tunnel, and just that's what we've got to do. Take the good things and not concentrate on the bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I had a girl that has been following me on Periscope, and she contacted me, and she's like, they closed down the schools here, and things are going crazy, and I'm scared. Aren't you scared? And I'm like, well, I'm scared, but I'm denying it, and I'm not going to put any energy into it, and I'm just going to focus on the positive and not let it freak me out, because I don't want those toxins introduced into my body, because then if I have the stress and the toxins, so on and so forth, my immune system is going to be compromised. So I'm trying to stay positive and not think about it. I I think that's the best thing to do. And so, like you were saying about people calling people out, so on and so forth, I'm not putting people down, but there are funny things that I've found online regarding Trump and toilet paper and other things like that, things that make me laugh. And so I share those with my friends to make them laugh, because laughter for me right now is the best medicine and the best way to pass time. And most people appreciate it, but some people really don't. And I'm just like, I even shared the other day, I laugh about things I have all my life, about things that are very negative and drastic. I try to turn it around and upside down and make it not so negative, get a positive out of it, make jokes about it, laugh about it. And it doesn't mean that I take it any less seriously than other people. It just means that's how I deal with things, and that's my medicine.
Yeah, it's very much beneficial for the immune system, so carry on. Sorry, Rob.
You're right, I was done. It's your coping mechanism.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just try to spread laughter and light and such, and I don't know, that's what I'm trying to do, and I'm not trying to piss people off or make people rip each other's throats out. That was not my intention at all. I was trying to make people laugh, but, kind of makes me second guess putting certain things out there. There was one, okay, I'm not going to discuss it. We have somebody here that had a point to make about dreams and such. We have Nikki from Washington on. Hey, Nikki, how's it going?
Hi, doing all right. You guys have been interesting tonight. I love it.
Yay, thank you.
Hi, Nikki.
Hi,
Hey.
here's Nikki.
Hi. And I see Robert waving.
I said hello, thank you.
Yeah.
Not got the video on, not the hair.
So, Tessa, do you want me to read what I posted, or do you want me just to go into it?
Yeah. However you feel most comfortable. You can start with the I was asked if, that, and then go from there.
Okay. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions. Maybe not. I was asked if I psychically see anything regarding an asteroid possibly hitting the Earth, or an asteroid having a close call with Earth. And I was asked that on Thursday, the 26th. And my response was I didn't psychically see an asteroid hitting the Earth, but there is something major that will happen in the United States and globally. I've never, and I'm just going to read this because it's easier for me to read it than trying to explain it. I have never outright fully described what this 20-plus year repeated psychic vision has been until now. In my 20 years of this repeated psychic vision, there are numerous earthquakes across the globe, more than what the Earth has experienced in the last year, between 2019 and 2020. Then one earthquake or something, no idea of earthquake magnitude, but something happens. It starts a volcano erupting in the United States, and that one volcano erupting triggers an underground vault or a cavern and a series of tunnels, tubes, or fractures. Now, tunnels, tubes, or fractures, those are direct spirit quotes. Those are words that they gave me directly, which connect all the other mountains where one by one they all somehow are triggered in some way. Big catastrophe, millions of tons of flying soil, flying boulders, bits of splintered trees, trees on fire, a lot of devastation. And this is something that I have seen time and time and time again. And I'm like, seriously? Really? I've also seen flaming balls and raining fire that I can only assume that's lava. Black and red smoke with what looked like flames to me. At first, then dark gray, to light gray plumes of noxious smoke, and a serious amount of people screaming in pain, people crying, children crying, and let me tell you, that was hard. Wow. there were times where that I got chunks of this vision over time, over the 20 years, and it was really hard. Children screaming and crying for their loved ones, then there was silence. Each time I've experienced this vision, it nearly drops me to the floor because it is so freaking intense. And it's not now, but it was so intense that it was actually painful. It was like I was feeling the, what is it? I don't remember what it's called, but when something explodes, there's a blowback of energy,
like a concussion?
a force that, excuse me?
A concussion or a backdraft?
Yes, a concussion field. And so every time I received the vision, it was like I received a concussion wave through my body. Very painful. So a lot of times I would be reaching out for anything around me that could keep me on my feet. And a number of times there, I was down on the ground because it would literally knock me down. So about 14 years ago or so, the vision altered. It then included, and it says in what I wrote, and God, I hate saying this in print or even out loud, it even included Yosemite going up in the last one. The change in the vision actually made me dizzy, nauseated. However, now I see the whole vision or parts of it. I'm not dizzy or nauseated from it, but it scares the hell out of me, especially since this last year with all of the massive amount of close together earthquakes and volcanoes which have erupted. It's the beginnings of my nightmare psychic vision. The closer the earth is to this actually happening. Okay, then it goes on and it says, now I don't know what yet really triggers the earthquake and the rumbling, the one that triggers this whole shebang going off. But I keep hoping and praying that this timeline changes some way, somehow, because I have been seeing all my other psychic visions come true, coming to pass in the last 2 to 4 years. All the really devastating ones, or the ones that are so political that it's triggering a lot of backlash. And all of that is building up to one of my other psychic visions. That stuff hasn't happened yet, but I'm seeing it come to pass. I'm seeing all the little pieces of it starting to come to pass, or that have already passed. I have seen quote-unquote fire in the sky, and many descriptions in the Ed Sheeran's song I See Fire. I do know this. People do survive. Not easily, but they do survive. And then here's my part 2 of that answer as of today. In the last 2 days, I have received a number of pieces of spirit messages. Well, a number of spirit messages, but a lot of pieces to those messages of info that I'm still deciphering. But I believe it does pertain to some sort of asteroid or other space item, which could be super close to the Earth. And there are specifics in the messages. But like I said, I'm still deciphering all the messages for the last 2 days. So, and wow, the spirits are very loud about it. It's like once I'm asked about something, it's like I start receiving answers. And if it's something real specific like that, something that could be that detrimental, if there's silence, I'm not supposed to know about it. It's not supposed to come to me. The information will probably go to somebody else. But this information, I've seen a lot of it on Facebook and other places, other social media regarding an asteroid, and I've just poo-pooed it. I'm not doing that anymore. Not with the images that in these messages. Wow. So there's something coming, but I don't I want to say I don't believe it will hit the Earth. I don't think it will. That's my personal opinion, not my psychic personal opinion. But it does affect the Earth. I just don't know how. I can imagine how, but I don't want to even be in that. Because like I said, that's just imagination. And I'm more realistic than just ridiculous imagination stuff. That's bugs the crap out of me. So, yeah, that's it's the vision about the volcanoes, the what I'm assuming are lava tubes, the quote unquote fractures, underground fractures, which there's a geological term for that, which I just for right now can't think of what it is. The tunnels, that fascinated me. When I saw tunnels, I saw a combination of things. I saw tunnels that were man-made, and I saw tunnels which were not, but somehow they were all interconnected, or like a wall was in between one tunnel versus another tunnel, and all it would take out would be a blowout of one side of the tunnel, and it would be all interconnected. So I've seen a lot of stuff like that makes my stomach churn. So I'm just thankful it doesn't severely affect me. I'll get used to. And I've never had visions. Well, I've had, when it regards missing people, I will have certain visions where they will actually make me very sick because of what I've seen, because of what one person has done to another person. It makes you want to vomit. Mm-hmm. That's beside the point. So this is the current stuff that's coming up. It's major. And I really seriously despise fear-mongering. And yet, at the same time, this is information that needs to be out there. It just sucks about the timing of it.
Yeah, and what you're saying about the whole Yellowstone thing and all these different, like the asteroids, so on and so forth. Rick was saying in the chat room, it's worth keeping an eye on. The U.S. Geological Survey does just that, is the Long Valley Caldera in California, near a popular ski resort of Mammoth Mountain, just east of Yosemite National Mountain. It just erupted 700,000 years ago. He wonders about Yellowstone supervolcano. And that's what I've been thinking about, too. You know, we had the earthquake in Utah and then Nevada, and I believe there was one in Washington as well. And then a couple years ago, it started out near Hawaii and started working down the rim there. It seems like the Ring of Fire is reactivating, and it's getting very close to Yellowstone, which if that blows, I mean, the whole world's going to be affected, basically, with the whole ash fallout and such. Rick, did you want to follow up on that comment that you had made in the chat?
I was just, obviously, I knew about the Yellowstone supervolcano. I was just trying to research what Nikki was saying about Yosemite National Park there. So just trying to share it there in the chat, sort of under the radar. But we very much saw a lot of Yellowstone stuff happening in the popular movie 2012. So I'd share that as the chain reaction that Nikki was talking about. And also just put that, hopefully now she's sort of put it out there into the ether and listeners are tuning in and hearing what is happening. Hopefully that'll help to change the tide somewhat, fingers crossed.
Oh, I've been praying for that. Let me tell you, because this is, when I was first getting, and they were hits, I was getting hit with this, and that's exactly what being just utterly hit and decimated with these visions when they were first coming in. I've been praying that none of it happens. It's it's been a lot more than I can handle. I mean, let me tell you, and then it takes you weeks to piece through. It's like a movie. The only way I can describe these visions that I was having 20 to 25 years ago was it was like being downloaded parts of a movie. And I know darn well that this was not a movie. I had a conversation with Eric Cooper a number of months back because I had made the realization that one psychic years and years and years ago, like in the 80s, had described a movie. And it wasn't until I was watching that movie that I got my own psychic hit and I went, oh my God, that's exactly what this guy described. I wonder if he was seeing this movie, that was being played, and for whatever reason, it felt real to him. Well, that's a possibility. I mean, I'm looking at every possible aspect of this because it just boggles my mind that this could be real. Yet, here you have this past year where you have so many stinking earthquakes that result in a volcanic eruption. Or
the other
like
weird thing was in the national park up there, not too long ago, the roads were melting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and see, you have during the time that I think it was 2 weeks before, that one island that went up and it had visitors on it, and can't remember exactly what the volcano was.
New Zealand.
I'm sorry, say that again, Robert?
White Island in New Zealand.
Yes, thank you. That's the one. 2 weeks before, I was having visions and psychic spirit messages that a caldera, a caldera, and that's how Spirit put it. A caldera is going up. It's going up, and you have to let people know. And I'm like, oh my God. So I did say something about it. I don't remember where or when, but I did. And a number of days later, here you've got, this eruption. And I'm like, wow, okay, it happened. So then I've had other ones where I get a spirit message. And why they're choosing me, I don't know. It's kind of driving me nuts because this is all negative, detrimental crap to me. I'm like, I'm into the positive world. I like things positive around my environment, and this kind of stuff just bugs the crap out of me. I mean, don't get me wrong. I appreciate the forewarning, but who the hell's going to be? In the grand scheme of things, I'm no one that can do anything about it. I mean, but one of the things that I did realize is that I can at least post it publicly. And if something happens, the information is already out there. And I do know, oh God, I hate talking about this one. I already know that I'm being watched for specific reasons. And so I know that some way, somehow, eventually the information will get to the right people, and hopefully, prayerfully, something positive can be done to, if not stop what's going on, then alter it. And hopefully alter it in a positive way. Or put out, I was going to say martial law. That is not what I mean. No, I hesitated. Don't even. No, yeah, that's not positive. Put out a warning, and maybe geologists can start keeping an eye on certain areas. So I don't know. It's just crazy. But I do know this: the the tubes, the tunnels, the fractures, these are things that the current geologists do not know of. They do not know for whatever reason right now. I don't know if it's because of technology or what, but they literally do not know the specific interconnections of these specific tubes and tunnels and fractures. And I don't know why. I haven't been given an answer to that, but I would sure like to know. So, I don't know. Putting it out there, you guys asked about certain things, and I went, I'm going to ask. I'm going to ask a really big question.
Well, there's also been, I don't know if you guys have heard about it, but the second moon, and it's been in our orbit for about 2 years now. And they just recently mentioned it, even though they knew it was there quite a while ago. And then they're saying they expect it to leave our orbit in April. Why that? And this thing is only the size of a car. And then I also heard about different asteroids heading our way or whatnot. Supposedly they're not supposed to hit. But other people have been talking about that. Like, they just want us to hunker down because this is going to happen. Like, I don't know. I don't think there'd be a whole big old thing going on because an asteroid's about to hit. They just let you go along with life as normal, and when it happens, you know? But the second moon thing, that's been very strange. It's been here for a couple years, and they expect it to leave in April. Why? Do you expect this thing to leave?
Why?
In April.
Specifically.
I mean, that's weird.
Usually they don't make predictions usually like that, like to the exact month for the most part. Usually it's by year. How can they say by April? I mean, obviously they're advanced, but I don't know. They say that there's like inside of the moon, there's like a satellite, or like it's hollowed out, and there's all these different moon theories. So what if this is just one of those? I don't know. Not like the theories, but what if it's like one of those that the theories is about, you know, like satellite or I don't know, Bubble Boy. Sorry.
I love that movie. I'm just waiting for Rick or Robert to pipe in.
I am very sorry you're going through that, Nikki. Like, that's intense. But something that I have learned also is that I feel like nothing is predetermined. Sometimes it's like karma. So instead of the volcano, we have the virus, you know, that type of stuff. Maybe, you know, it's because there's an equilibrium, like balance to the universe. And when it's off, like, you know, when something's going to happen, you just don't know what. I mean, you don't know what's going to happen, but the energy shifts. Last year was a trip for anyone I know that has like any abilities or like is intuitive at all or sensitive at all in any way. It's a crazy year, man, like super, super crazy. And so, like, I don't know. I just feel like you can feel it coming on, but it's not necessarily set in stone. You don't have an exact timeline. You know, just don't keep yourself up over it, because I feel like that would be very stressful for me, like extremely stressful to have to deal with. And hopefully I won't have to deal with that. I've been fortunate enough to not. So I'm sorry.
Yeah, this year's been crazy for Nikki. She's had all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh, that's for sure. I've had... Try having Sasquatch being interdimensional in your home. I'm like, what the crack, as you would say, Tessa? I'm like, am I losing my mind? No, because there's actually somebody here, and oh my God, they're over 9 feet tall. And why is there a wet dog smell in my house? I don't have dogs. Or a very specific rancid odor. You know, or
I've always had a theory about Sasquatch being on a different dimensional level. Maybe you were honing in on that dimensional level. Maybe they're all around us on some level all the time.
Well, I know this. I was specifically told that they use portals to travel. They do use portals. That's one of their ways to travel. The other thing is that and I just heard somebody talking about it being a cloak. I never thought of it as a cloak, but or like a cloaking shield or something like that. But I do know that they're on a higher frequency. I don't know what else to call it other than a vibration, but they're on a higher frequency shift to where when they can do just like exactly what everybody talks about the aliens doing, walking through walls. There's a specific frequency that they're on to where they can do that. And to have one of these beings walk into your home and stand next to you as you're sitting down, and you can feel them. It's like I could reach out and touch them. It was the weirdest. And as you guys know, I've had astral travelers in my home unexpectedly. And so I know what the feeling feels like. And that's what this felt like. That's why I first thought they were astral traveling. And then I got told, no, it's not astral traveling. We come through portals. We are dealing with a higher frequency. And I had the word the other day, and I don't have it right now for whatever reason, but and they can do these walk through walls, walk through matter. I'm like, that is beyond cool. But yeah, there's a bunch of other information that I've got that could potentially locate them, and I am not saying that one out loud. No one needs to know that at all. So, especially government.
Well, you guys, we are at the end of our time. Nikki, thanks so much for sharing your visions and information with us. It's crazy, and I hope to talk about it more in the after party.
Sounds like a plan.
And thank you so much to the Paradox Paranormal Forum, Rick Kirkby, Robert White, SleepyDave Davenport, and Mea Savage. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me tonight and talking about all this crazy stuff going on in the world around us.
No worries, thanks for having us. I was going to say quantum tunneling theory. Look up quantum tunneling theory. Solid objects going through solid objects. Anyway.
Very interesting. Definitely
Got
check
back
that out.
Quantum leaper. Or quantum leper.
Oh no!
No, that got back.
He left the tip.
Watch out for the quantum leper. It sounds like a creature of some kind. Fairy tale story.
Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Anything but the quantum
Sorry,
leper.
I'm pretty sure those CBD treats were not just CBD.
Uh-oh.
And then what?
And thank you.
I'm like
you're old
freaking
and
out
still
over here.
Still quite effective.
That's why I don't do this stuff though, because it freaks me out. Like I'm just staring at my leg, wanting to tear it off right now.
No. And thank you to all of our friends on We Are Paradox Media's Facebook, Spreaker, Twitter, Periscope, iHeartRadio, and wherever else you may be listening beyond the Omniverse tonight. I had a wonderful time this evening, and I can't wait to do it again tomorrow night when we have the Shock for Dr. Brent Dunbar on. You guys don't forget, we are all in this together. Together we can make the world a little better, and together, my friends, we are Paradox